Hello, welcome to Zepeto Studio. I'm Kiwi here to walk you through a studio tutorial. We will continue our lesson and learn about rigging. First, import the clothing items to be rigged. Before rigging, check that there aren't any issues with mask object and cloth object. In the mask object, make sure that the Voltex color is applied correctly. We especially encourage you to thoroughly check areas that connect to the body. If it is applied incorrectly, you may see holes in the Zepeto or parts that should be hidden. We will now create joints. Import the Creator BaseSet Zepeto file to File, Create Reference. Importing to create reference will make it easier for you to organize your work after it is complete. Set the BaseSet joints, shoulder L, shoulder R, rotate Z values to -7.5, and upper arm L, upper arm R, rotate Z values to -40. This will set the BaseSet to pose A. Select the joints within the BaseSet group to copy. These joints will be used for rigging. The naming for the copied joint will be Hips 1, so turn off the BaseSet imported from reference for now. The copied joint is now the joint needed for rigging. Any unnecessary joints found while rigging can be erased. Change the joint naming from Hips 1 to Hips. Copy the cloth object and create a dummy object in order to easily make weight modifications. It is difficult to make weight modifications on the original object, so it is recommended to make a simple weight adjustments on the dummy object, then copy it to the original object. To delete an edge, select the face to remove and press the delete key, or go to Edit Mesh, delete Edge/Vortex to adjust the dummy object. Once you are done editing the dummy object, erase any unnecessary history. Select the joint to start bind skin. This step is necessary to more effectively and efficiently make weight modifications. Make sure the hip joint is selected. Select the joint, dummy object, and cloth object to bind skin. In the option, make sure that the Bind To is set to Selected Joints to successfully bind skin. Turn on the BaseSet that was turned off in the reference editor. Copy the weight value to the dummy object. Before that, make sure that the pelvis on both the rigging joint and BaseSet joint is selected, and the trans Z value is 0.001. If the upper arm twist L scale, upper arm twist R scale, lower reg twist L scale, lower reg twist R scale are also included in the rigging joints, make sure that the trans Z value of both the BaseSet joint and the rigging joint of the corresponding body part are 0.001. Keep in mind that moving the joints slightly is necessary to avoid issues when copying the dummy object. Select the dummy object and the BaseSet mask object and copy skin weights. Once they are copied, change the trans Z value back to 0. Move each joint and check that the copy skin weights is working properly. It is easier to check if the areas where the BaseSet mask object and clothes overlapped are erased. Check that the neckline or arms move properly with the clothes on the BaseSet. Continue to make weight modifications while ensuring that the shapes are as intended. Move each joint and make sure that it is working properly. If weight modifications are needed, go to Paint Skin Weights and adjust the weight value. The best way to make weight modifications is by starting with the joint that is farthest from the hip joint and locking the joints that are working as intended. Make sure that one point is only affected by 4 or less joints. Move each joint and check in different angles as you make modifications. Once one side is done, go to Skin, Mirror Skin Weights to make the joint symmetrical. If you don't want it to be the same, then feel free to manually make adjustments to the other side. If you would like to only copy some joint setting, then only select the desired points and mirror skin weights. Once the modifications are complete on the dummy object, move each joint and check that they are moving properly. Select multiple joints and move them. Once you are done with making weight modifications to the dummy object, copy the weight values to the clothed object. Move the pelvis in this step as well as prior to copying the object. Select the dummy object, then the clothed object, and copy skin weights. Hide the dummy object and check that the clothed object is moving properly. Thoroughly check that the buttons, ribbons, etc. that were not a part of the dummy object are moving properly. Change the weight value if needed. Make sure that one point is only affected by 4 or less joints. Try to make adjustments from one point farthest from the other issue. To restart, recopy the dummy object. Once rigging is complete, erase the base set imported from the reference editor. The only items that must be saved to FBX file are clothed object, hips, and mask. Delete any unnecessary items. Before exporting, check that the animation key is included in the joint or object. Select the clothed object, hips and mask, use File, Export Selection to save as an FBX file. The next tutorial will be on the last part of creating items using 3D modeling.